The Trump administration is cracking down on political violence after the latest string of recent attacks. The president has directed the administration to deploy National Guard troops to Portland amongst the list of other crime-ridden cities in the U.S. Trump recently signed an executive order, a national security presidential memorandum that designates Antifa as a major terrorist organization and counters domestic terrorism and organized political violence. To further weigh in, let's bring in New York Times bestselling journalist of Unmasked and senior editor for the Post-Millennial, Andy Ngo. Andy, you have experience with Antifa going back to the Summer of Love in 2020, especially on the West Coast. Can you describe your interactions with the organization? Because many on the left say that they're an idea or an ideology, but not an organization.
I think a better way to understand Antifa is that they are networks. They can form ad hoc groups. Some of the groups are formalized. Some of the militants are radicalized individuals who take up direct actions on their own. So they're not a singular organization, but they are organized. That's the key point. I interacted with them going back to 2016, actually, when I was a student journalist at Portland State University working for the student newspaper, and I was assigned to cover the gatherings that were announced on election night. Well, the gatherings in Portland turned to 3 days of rioting because Donald Trump had won. And that was the first time I saw groups, quite large, of people dressed in black. At that time, it was unusual to cover your face with a mask, and they had weapons. And within a matter of seconds, they could destroy an entire street and quickly disappear and move on to the next street. And they did, within a span of just one night, $1 million of damage. And that was a preview of the plans for the next 8 years of what would happen. 2020 was really where they put the skills that they gained and the tools and the knowledge that they had over what they could exploit in the city of Portland. Weak political leadership by Democrats who encouraged them. And that same playbook is being used similarly now on the ongoing attacks on the ICE facility in Portland.
Here's what the Portland police chief said about crime in the city. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, and it's been highlighted so many times so well, but I just want to emphasize, this is one city block. City of Portland is about 145 square miles. This is one city block. And even the events that are happening down there do not rise to the level of attention that they are receiving.
So according to the police chief, it's just one city block that the city just can't seem to take control of.
Portland has had abysmal police leadership. A lot of it came down to incompetence, in my opinion, and I was hoping that a new page was being turned with Police Chief Bob Day, but I was wrong. He was actually the worst of all of them in recent years. Chief Bob Day runs a consulting business where he teaches DEI, and I never expected to see a Portland police chief actually run cover for Antifa. Often they just don't acknowledge the existence of Antifa, but he actually has. Earlier this year, he released an apology video to a group of armed Antifa militants who were involved in a deadly shootout back in 2022. So what he's saying now is indicative of the agenda that he's working for, which is the Democrat agenda in the city of Portland, which is to say, don't look to us we don't have any problems here. Look the other way. That's the same thing they were saying 5 years ago in 2020 as the riots erupted for weeks, then months, and somebody was murdered, assassinated. A Trump supporter was assassinated in downtown Portland. Buildings were set on fire. Businesses were looted, smashed up. So what he's doing now, shocking, disappointing, and I would actually I would call for his resignation, which I've never done for a public official, but what he said is completely out of line.
Andy, why do you think the police chief apologized to Antifa members? I mean, it doesn't seem... just that question alone, why would he do that? Why would the Democrats kind of kowtow to Antifa?
He's thinking of himself purely as a political leader rather than somebody who leads a police department in a large city in the Pacific Northwest. He wants to be liked. He wants to get the nice headlines in the local stories. So he's a coward at the end of the day. And he's been saying that the area that the riots have occurred outside the ICE facility is just one city block, and he tried to contextualize how little that space is in the whole entire city. And that's misleading, but it raises another question, which is why has the Portland police not been able to police that one city block if it's so small?
That's exactly right. I guess that's why Donald Trump sent in the National Guard. But Andy, no, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
My pleasure.